Alright, so what we're going to be doing in this video is helping you get started with the Lego project. So if there's ever a point in the video where you need to stop if I'm moving too fast, just hit pause and open up your Illustrator file and do it with me. You're more than welcome to kind of do this part with me, or you can watch this video through and then start, whatever works for you. Okay, so you're going to go to File, New. You can go to Art and Illustration, and you can select poster. That stuff isn't super important. It is important to know what you're kind of making so that you're choosing the right things, but for the most part you're probably going to be in Art and Illustration. Change it to inches, and this one can be an 8x10 document. Now depending on your picture that you choose, you're going to want to know if you're doing a portrait or a landscape. And if you put the inches in over here, when you go over here, it's going to switch this up for you. So just know that you don't have to go back up here and change it. You can kind of switch back and forth. So I know what picture I'm doing, so I know that it's going to probably be better for a portrait. So I will hit create, and I have my document. Okay, so I have my document, and I'm going to actually go to File, Open. I'm going to open up the Lego pieces, so I'm going to show you where they're at. Now, if you're in Miss MacArthur's classes, it might be in a different place. Just remember that. But if you're in my class, you are going to go to the graphics drive, and it's going to be under Menard Computer Graphics. And it's going to be under Lego projects. So I saved the original Lego pieces in there for you, so you can kind of just grab them. This is also where you'll be saving the project when you get there. And you can open up this file. It's going to open up as another tab, so here's my file I'm working on. And here is the file you're going to grab from. So just have those open. We're not going to do anything with them just yet. And I'm going to show you how to bring your picture in. So I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to select my image. I love Mario, so I'm going to choose Mario as my subject matter. So choose things that you like, and things that are important to you. Mario is one of my favorite, and I'm just going to save the image. Remember, you want to save it, and I'm going to save it to my desktop, so I just know where it's at. You can save it into your files or wherever you save images. Knowing where it's at is going to be very important. Then I'm just going to go to File, Open. I'm going to select my image and open it into Illustrator. Okay, so to kind of get going here, I have these three documents. So I have my document I'll be working in, my document where I'm going to grab my Lego pieces, and my image. So what we're first going to do is select our image. So we're just going to click it with our tool, and we're going to hit Control C. Alright, you're going to go to your document, and you will click on your document so you know where you're selected on it, and you'll hit Control V, and it's going to paste your picture over. Alright, so I have my image, and you're probably going to notice when you bring it over that there's going to be these boxes on it. This is going to help control the size. This is obviously a little too small, so we're going to be making it larger. Now, when you make an image larger, you have to hold shift to make sure its proportions are constrained. So if I did not hold shift right now and I brought him up and I wasn't holding shift, he would look all funky, and that's not good. We don't want him to be all messed up. If you make a mistake with something, just hit Control Z and you can go back to where you were. So if you make a mistake, Control Z is going to be a lifesaver. Learn those control options so you're not going back up here and having to hit Edit Undo. So I'm going to hold shift. So I'm holding shift as I'm dragging my image, and it's going to constrain the proportions for me. It's okay if the image is a little blurry because we're just using it almost as a stencil to get going. And I really want to fill in the page, and I can move them around. So when the image is selected, you can see I can just use the selection tool to kind of move Mario around my paper until I'm kind of happy to where he's at. And then I'm just going to hit enter. Or I'm sorry, not enter. You're just gonna forget that. You're just gonna select away, and it's gonna deselect the image for you. Okay. So I'm gonna go over to my layers menu. You can see where my mouse is, and I'm gonna select my image and go to properties. But let me select it. So my properties come up. Okay. So I have my image selected, you can tell it's selected by the blue. And I'm going to go up to here where it says opacity. So opacity has to do with how if opaque or see-through it is. So if I want to lower the opacity, I'm just going to lower it to probably about 50, and it's going to make it more transparent. Oh, there it is selected. Sorry about that. Now it's selected. You can see it. And I'm just bringing it down, and it's going to make him more see-through. So if he's at 100, you can see all the colors of him. You're going to want to bring him down to probably about 50. That's a pretty good starting point. And you'll select it. So this is going to be our image. And you should name your layers. You can name it kind of whatever makes sense to you. And I'm going to lock them up just because if you hit the lock button, it keeps things from selecting it, especially when you're in Illustrator and you're still learning it. By locking the layers that you don't need to worry about, you'll probably have less of a chance of making a mistake. Okay. I'm also going to go back over here. I'm going to Control C my image again because we're going to need another image. And I'm going to select over here. I'm going to make a new layer. Control V my image in. And I'm going to place them over to the side. Okay. We're going to be using this image to select our color. So you're going to need the image over here. And you're going to need your image over here. And then you can lock that guy up as well. And create a new layer, which is in the bottom. There's under your layers panel. If you hover over things, remember it'll tell you what it is. It's next to the garbage can. So delete selection. Right to the left of that, it's create new layer, and it's like a page with a little fold. You'll hit create new layer, and you'll see your layers up here. Alright, I'm going to go to my Lego pieces. And with the selection tool, you can drag in these, you can use these marquees. So the nice thing about this thing is you can select one thing. I can drag over this and I'm selecting the one thing, or you can directly select multiple things. So you're going to want multiple things because you want to grab it and pull all over. And you're going to hit Control C. So Control C copies it. I'm going to select my document. I'm going to make sure I'm selected on my layer. That's why it's kind of nice to lock your layers in the beginning, just so you're not pasting things on the wrong layer and everything is nicely organized. I'm going to make sure I'm selected on my document. I'm going to Control V. And remember, when selected, I can use Shift to kind of constrain the proportions and bring it down. And I'm going to place it over here. And I'm going to name this layer Legos. Okay? So this is kind of the starting point with your project. You have your image you're going to get your color from. You have your picture. And you have your Legos. Okay? You won't need these anymore, so you can delete this. And you can delete this. You don't need it open if that confuses you. And basically you're going to be constructing your image out of Legos. So the idea is to be using these guys to kind of help build the project. So whichever, you're going to have to unlock things if you want to use them. If you see it in this Legos layer, Illustrator is kind of nice because each thing has its own layer, each kind of vector that's created. And within this layer are each Lego, which is really nice. And if you even go into within those layers, it's each vector that's created. So that's really important to kind of know when you're selecting, is that you can select seriously just this path in this mark that's created. You see when I hover over things, I can select just the square and bring it around. Oh, Control Z if I wanted to ungroup it and unlock it, which is kind of something to know about Illustrator, and this is what we're going to be kind of learning a little bit as our selection tools. So I can kind of spread these guys out, so it makes it a little bit easier for me. And you're going to want to make a new layer, alright? And keeping things organized is nice. You can have sub layers, which I can totally show you. But I like to kind of keep things organized based on what I'm working. So let's say I'm starting with the shoe, okay? And I want to build the shoe out of this Lego. I'm going to kind of leave it over here. You want to Control C and copy it. Okay, you're going to go into your layers. See, I'm over here selecting my layer, and Control V to paste it. So I can lock this guy up, or you can keep him unlocked. That's okay. Right now, I'm just going to work with this one Lego and play with it. So I have this Lego selected. Oops. If you double click, you're going to lock it. Don't double click. Alright, and you can go over here. In the top, there's your colors. So you could select colors, but let's say I really want to make it a perfect replica of Mario, well, I want to make sure I'm selecting his colors. So if you go over to your eyedropper tool, you're just going to select it, and you just go over the areas that you want to make that color, and you just select it. Because I have my Lego selected down here, when I went over here and I dropped this color, it changed the whole piece to that brown. Now, but if you look at it, now it's just brown and you don't have an outline. So it doesn't even look like a Lego anymore. It just looks like a brown shape. So you're going to select it again, and you're going to go up to here. So this is your fill. So I filled it with the brown, and here's your stroke color. Okay, this is basically the outline. So you can have like a black stroke on most of the stuff, or you can kind of choose a different value that's in there, like a light brown. Like that's kind of keeps it more closer to what you're building, and it kind of makes it more values in there for you too. Then you can even select this, and you can play with the stroke number. So there's a stroke color up here. So if your stroke's too large, you'll notice that it doesn't become a Lego anymore. So you want to kind of keep your stroke lower so you can kind of tell what it actually is. So I'm going to keep it at 1, and I'm just going to zoom in. So Control plus sign, and I can zoom in, and I can kind of start to arrange it. So I'm holding Shift and I'm constraining proportions, and basically you're going to be building with Legos. For this to go quicker, you're just going to select this guy. You're going to Control C, Control V. Okay, I'm still on my layer 4, and I'm just using the move tool to move it on top. Alright, now I think maybe that these Legos are too small. Well, that's okay. I'm going to constrain my proportions. I'm holding Shift, and you also are going to be learning how to rotate. So you see how there's a little rotation tool when selected? I'm just kind of turning it so you can kind of place things. And I'm going to delete this guy because I want the exact same thing. Well, I already made one. Control C, Control V, placing it, and moving it on top. Well, let's say I need to make a bunch of these, right? Well, I can select these two, Control C, Control V, and kind of keep building. Alright? Things like with outlines, you're going to want to obviously go in and take your time to go around. What I'm trying to just show you is the basics to get going on this project. Control C, Control V, and there you go. Move it over there. Now, let's say I wanted to have a Lego, and Control minus to zoom out, that had a cool pattern in it. Well, we could do that. So let's say I want to select this guy. So I have to unlock my layer. So, yep, it's Control C. I'm going to go to this layer, Control V onto that layer, lock those bags back up, and I'm going to go to my fill gallery. Over here, there's the Swatch Libraries menu, which could be kind of fun, and there's a whole bunch of things that you could do, like endless. There's textiles. There's, hold on, let me go through, let me find a fun one. Patterns is kind of fun. Gradients, where you can just select the gradient, and it'll fill it with a nice gradient for you. So you can go in here and you can kind of play around with the libraries. There's a whole bunch. I'm not going to show you because I would be doing this forever. So you're going to want to go in here and kind of get that if you want to kind of mess around with different things like that. Okay, so basically you're going to be building the entire image out of Legos. Take your time, ask questions. Remember, we're using the eyedropper tool. So you're kind of demonstrating the eyedropper tool to kind of select colors. And if it's selected, it will fill it. Don't forget the stroke. You're showing me that you can control and copy things. That's going to be a really important thing with Illustrator. And that you're rotating and you know how to use some of those basic tools. Alright, I'm going to leave you there. You're going to keep building. Good luck. Make sure you pay attention to your layers. You keep things organized, and you are making sure that you're labeling them. So if I'm on the boot, I would name it boot, and I'd keep it kind of organized. I like the way it worked that way. And that's kind of the way I would like you guys to kind of stay in. Alright. Sound good? Alright, so get going and let me know if you guys need any help. Alright.